In Botanyb, chapter number 2, classification, you will learn about classification system of Wilhelm Eichler. His picture is shown that he was a German botanist and showed evolutionary relationships in taxonomy. Wilhelm Eichler introduced the evolutionary phylogenetic trends in plant classification. Its major deviants are still followed. His classification system has following scheme. Number 1 is cryptogamy. These are non-seed producing plants. It has 3 deviants. First deviant is Thalophyta. Thalophyta is from thallus. It is a term, the plant body. Thallus means plant body. That is a plant body that is not differentiated well into root, stem and leaves is called thallus. They don't develop embryo. It has 2 classes, algae and class fungi. Second deviant is Bryophyta. They have thallus or plant-like body. They develop embryo. Gametophyte, gamete-producing generation is dominant in them. It has 2 classes, class Hepaticae, class Muci. Third division is Pteridophyta. They are lower vascular plants, that is, they have xylem and phloem tissues. They have sporophyte or spore-producing generation dominant. It has 3 classes, Equisitini, Lycopodini, and Felicini. Now there are Phanerogrammi. These are seed-producing and are vascular plants. They have dominant spore-producing sporophyte generation. It has 2 deviants. Deviant 1, Gymnospermy. They are seed-producing non-flowering plants. Second deviant is Angiospermy. They are seed-producing and are also flowering plants. It has 2 classes, Monocotyledon and Dicotyledon. So first class is Dicotyledon. It has 2 subclasses, Chloripetalae and Sympetalae. Now there is phylogenetic system of plants, that is evolutionary trends. Classification system of Engler and Parental. Adolf Engler and Karl Parental were 2 German botanists. They published their classification system and they were followed the classification system of Eichler. Their system of classification replaced the system of Bentham and Hooker. This system dominates in plant taxonomy now. What were the characteristics of system? Number 1, this system organized the plants according to their evolutionary phylogenetic relationships. It follows systematic plan, that is, plants are well organized. The plants are arranged from simple to complex one. The plants are arranged from in a well organized manner. According to this system, most primitive old flowering plants are without perianth. Perianth is a term which is used collectively for calyx and corolla. The gamopetalous condition is taken as more advanced or new one than polypetalous. These are 2 conditions. You will learn them one by one. In gamopetalous condition, petals are united or fused with one another. Whereas in polypetalous condition, petals are free from one another. In gamo, petals are united or fused, and in polypetalous, they are free from each other. The monocotyledons are placed before the dicotyledons. According to this system, evolution change occurs from 2 conditions which we discussed earlier, hypogynous or hypogyny and epigynous or epigyny. So first one is hypogyny, or thalamus is conical in shape. Epigyny, in which thalamus grows upward and it surrounds the ovary. Definition of thalamus: it is a thickened part of stem from which flower organs grow. Third condition is perigynous condition, in which the shape of thalamus is flattened and it is intermediate between the 2. Now we will discuss merits and demerits of Engler-Parental system of classification. Merits or advantages: this system has completely abolished or finished the monoclamidy, in which perianth is arranged in single series. It was a large artificial group of Bentham and Hooker system. Its families were disturbed among the related forms. Sympetally, it means fused petals, that is, petals are united with each other. Of the system corresponds to gamopetally. Gamopetally is the condition when petals are fused or united with one another. Gymnosperms are treated separately in this system. The families with inferior ovary are treated in the last in this system. Again, what is inferior ovary? An ovary that is below the attachment of sepals, petals, stamen parts is said to be inferior ovary. The advancement is from conditions hypogyny to complete epigyny. Eichler considered orchids, these are plants, flowers with more highly evolved as compared to the grasses. Now you can see pictures of orchids. Demerits or disadvantages. In this system, amnetiferae, or it is a plant group, or catkin bearers are regarded as more primitive. What is catkin? It is a spike inflorescence with unisexual flowers. Picture of catkin, that is trees with catkins. Now what is spike? First of all, we will learn about inflorescence. Arrangement of group of flowers on an axis or stem is called inflorescence. So spike is an inflorescence in which the flowers are attached directly to the axis rather than on the flower stalk pedicel. As in the picture, it is shown. Group Amnetiferae. It is used in classification system. They precede Petalliferous families as Ranunculaceae. Amnetiferae, which is used in classification, are reduced rather than a primitive group. According to Bessie and other scientists or taxonomists, polypetally, in which petals are free from each other. It was earlier. Apetally. A means not. Apetally means having no petals. It was derived from it through modification. Pictures of condition apetally, that is having no petals. There is acceptance of derivation of dichlamydous flowers, perianth arranged in two series or rows, from monoclamydous ones in which perianth is arranged in single series in this system, and it is objectionable, that is, there are so many objections over it. There is a new term, placentation. Its definition is the attachment of ovule in the ovary is called placentation, and this arrangement may be different. Number 1, parietal placentation, in which the ovary is large, compound and unilocular, having one chamber. Second is axile placentation. Axile is from axil rod, in which there is a central axil rod in the ovary on which ovules attach. Third type, derivation of parietal placentation from axile placentation is also not true. Derivation of free central placentation from parietal placentation is objectionable, having objections on it. Now what is free central placentation? In which the ovules are borne on a central axis which is arising from the base of the ovary. Derivation of bisexual flowers from unisexual flowers is not correct. Bisexual flowers are also called two sexes or hermaphrodite. Derivation of entomophily from anemophily. Entomophily is from entomology, insects, that is pollination or transfer of pollen grains by insects. And anemophily, wind pollination, pollen grains are transferred by wind. In this system, monocots are considered more primitive and old than dicots.